shared, and the game so far after 3 games, the final game there, Juventus, I don't know what I was saying then, the Juventus 3, Manchester United 2, and Juventus 1-0 to the good. 6 points and happy home and hose for Juventus there.
Yeah, it's a perfect match day for them. They've come in, they've got their victories, and they're off home with 6 points, and as it stands, tying the top of the table.
Indeed, indeed. So we've heard from the players, we've heard from the Harry in the mix zone as well. We're now going to obviously turn our attentions to the next game, which, as I said in commentary, is a hugely interesting one. FC Bayern München, who have been, you know, smashing teams aside, really, in terms of being clinical in front of goal and very solid at the back. And Boavista, the dark horse of the competition for me, and they've been steadily improving and perhaps haven't had the points to show for it.
Yeah, and their performances have been getting better as time has gone on, and the way that their game plan adapts, it's not like they have like a one-size-fits-all formation. They have, at least the way they are setting out is they have a formation for every occasion, which is great because it shows a bit of professionalism from them, is that they're researching their players they're playing against, and that they're able to kind of adapt their team to work that way. On the flip side of it, Bayern Munich, as we've made mention before, those guys go into kind of researching their footage to a pretty molecular level. So they're kind of very similar in approaches at this point, and it'll be a fascinating watch to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at the 2 teams. Of course, Bayern Munich are going to be playing with Alex Alguacil, Jose and Mestre as well, but of course on your screen we flipped it revert. I just tried to, you know, spice things up here. Of course on your screen is Alex, Jose and Mestre, and then for Boavista as well we have Barbosa, Joker and Yiu as well. So sort of 3 players for each team that we kind of expected. And we actually have some videos from the 2 teams. Let's hear what they had to say earlier on today.
Well, we expect a very difficult match day like the others, but like the first day, we are here to make our points and trying to win both games.
Well, after the last match day, we took the 6 points. It was hard, so we expect the same like all the match days. So Boavista is a really difficult team to play against. So they are going to face us as they did with Juve and Monaco. They stole really great points. So it's going to be a tough match. So we will do our best.
Very confident mood there, the Bayern Munich lads, and so they should be. They've had a brilliant season so far. Is this a potential spanner in the works, Harry?
Yes, I think so. The way that we've seen Boavista perform against, as we spoke about a bit earlier on, maybe some of those teams we might have favoured in front of them. Against Monaco, stealing points against both of those 2 teams, which, I mean, really, they're the only team to not have lost both their games against AS Monaco. Yes, it's only a draw, but still, when you think about the attacking calibre of AS Monaco, the fact that they were able to match them tit for tat in that match and goal for goal, you know, it's still very impressive, and I think they could do the same to Bayern München very soon.
Yeah, Wes, we'll get to your opinions very, very shortly, but I'm being told the match is ready, so let's get straight to the action. We have Boavista FC versus FC Bayern München. It promises to be another stellar game. Let's go. It seems like if you're a Boavista player, the big games just keep coming, doesn't it? There seems to be no easy game. Of course there is no easy game in eFootball.pro, but I kind of feel they're due a bit of luck in terms of what their performances are going to produce in terms of points. Is it going to be today though, Wes, because Bayern Munich are a hell of an outfit?
Yeah, I mean, they are an incredible trio, as we've waxed lyrical before about Bayern Munich, but this Boavista side, they have something different. It's the way that they approach their games. You know, as we're looking at how they are setting out their team, let's just take a look at it. Because you can see there they have multiple different kind of scenarios and how they're trying to plan out. They're going back to this 5 at the back that was quite worked for them very well in matchday 3 against Juve. It worked quite well. So the fact they're reverting to type is good. The only problem is that with a team like Bayern Munich, who go into the detail, they do research the team, they may have already looked at that formation and have already picked it apart. So it's going to be interesting this opening half of the game, let alone the opening match, to see how they combat each other.
We've seen so far this season that Boavista tend to do better in the first game in terms of a bit of a shock performance, shock result. And then it sort of falls away a little bit in that second game. It might be something to do with that. The teams aren't quite used to playing against this formation. One thing I must say is Boavista's celebrations are pretty impressive. I do enjoy watching those, and I hope to see more of them today.
Hopefully, and if you're a Boavista fan or even a Boavista player, you might be expecting this club right now on your screens to have been watching that previous match, knowing that Juventus were around them in the table, and again, even Manchester United within 5 points or so to their club in the eFootball.pro League table, and thinking, okay, maybe we need to win these 2 matches against Boavista. And we've seen in the past Boavista always rising to the occasions against these, I want to stop calling them stronger teams, but teams that we expect to beat them, and they always come out and shock us. So I'm no longer writing off Boavista. I feel like they could really be a team to be reckoned with if they do get to the knockout stages of this competition.
I certainly think if they get something out of today, their fixture list, the fact that they've played Monaco, they've played Juventus, they've played Bayern Munich after today, they would probably then look at maybe the next 2 or 3 game weeks and thinking, here we go, we could string some points together, and we could, because they've taken points from those games where we might not have expected them to.
Well, if you roll it back to the very first interview that we heard from him match day 1, it was, we're just aiming for top 6. And looking at where they are at the moment, they are very much in a position where they'd be very happy just being nestled into the pack. And I think, if they do come out with something today, it'll be awesome. And I think then you can maybe shake off that debutant tag that they have.
Indeed, indeed. So it's Boavista versus FC Bayern München. And commentators for the opening period here will be Harry Channon, of course, and Stuart Wesley. And I will be back shortly.
Oh, thank you very much, Adam. Yes, a match in which it is finally poised. We've seen Bayern München in previous weeks really get off to some flying starts, and it was almost won again there. But this really is a game they cannot afford to overlook their opponents, as Boavista have proven, as we alluded to or even spoke about pre-match, whereas they really rise to the occasion and can string together some strong performances as Bayern München win a corner here early on.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about. We talk about how players and teams being able to kind of perform outside of what we would define as their regular patterns. It seems like every time Boavista come up against a team that aren't fancied, it tends to be above their station.
Yeah, it just seems like we are making sure competitive integrity is at its highest here, making sure there are no technical difficulties with our players up there on the stage. But you're right about saying Boavista nestled in that area of the league table at the moment, especially when you consider, I mean, we were talking about earlier Bayern München looking at Juventus as a team around them in the table. I mean, Boavista, United dropped 6 points essentially today. They are 2 games down with no points to show for it. Boavista just 1 point behind them in the table. So certainly something for Boavista to play for here today as well. Goretzka into Vriet, across goal, he's hit the post. So close to the opening goal. Very difficult to miss. Still in here though for Müller! It's Jose with the shot, Captain Jose. And it's Thomas Müller to put in the first goal for Bayern München. The goal-scoring machines absolutely finding their form early on here today.
How he missed the first chance, Xerxes. Clipped off the post, but you can see it's a bit of an outpouring relief at the fact that they've managed to score here. Again, fortuitous deflection, gets into a spot, but again, if you're presented with that opportunity, you're hardly going to kick the ball out of play and say, oh, well, I didn't deserve that opportunity. You're going to stick it away, and obviously Müller did so here.
I believe it was Captain Jose. We will get confirmation of that in just a moment, but you can see disappointed are the Boavista boys. Bayern München on top of the world.
Wonderful start there for the German Giants, and not one you wanted if you're a Boavista player, because you've generally taken most games early by the scruff of the neck. They haven't. They've allowed the initiative to go to Bayern Munich.
So correction there, it was not Jose. It was actually Alex Alguacil, the player for Bayern München, to stick that one home.
Which is surprising, because he's not been huge in terms of goal scoring this season. He's played second fiddle to the other two, really, as the ball gets played in towards Cassiano, but the offside flag is raised. A good high line there from Bayern Munich.
I think you can maybe forgive Alex for maybe not stepping up to the goal scoring form that he hit, I mean, in previous seasons, as well as, you know, in other pairs competitions. But I mean, it's the qualities that he brings to a team, especially in a 3 versus 3 competition, that, I mean, you can't really measure. I mean, you just think about the teams that he's played alongside. I'll come back to that.
They're in again here.
Think about the teams that Alex Alguacil has played on. I mean, world champion Eterito was a world champion in co-op with Ettore. So he obviously brings something to a team competition like this, which, you know, you maybe can't measure in the amount of goals or the assists that he gets. He's certainly a mastermind to bring to Bayern München, and good to see him chiming up with a goal here early on. Well,
it's no coincidence that any team that he has laid his hat to has done pretty well, Harry.
Certainly not.
The first world champion at co-op, of course, with Ettore and Luca Tubelli, as Pavard fires the ball downfield towards Xerxes, but it's going to be back in Boavista possession, and they've responded okay. They don't look too flustered by this.
No, and this is something that we've seen from Boavista in the past. I mean, they're not one team to get down on themselves when they do concede early. They know the nature of pairs, that it can be salvageable no matter what stage of the game you're at. I mean, think about earlier on today, down 2-0 where FC Nantes against Arsenal, and came back.
Oh, it's a chance almost for Paulinho, and good challenge from Hernandez in the end. Higher pass percentage completion, of course, for Bayern Munich, as Thomas Müller runs across to block that early cross. Masterminds of decent set pieces over the season so far. That one just didn't quite come off, but they still have possession through Neres, and Idris is down the left-hand side as well, but instead he goes back to Fabiano, now fired forwards towards the danger area, and it's another chance here for Boavista, and somehow it's gone into the back of the net, because the goalkeeper, it looked like, was going to claim it easily, and it's gone straight through his hands, Harry.
It has. It's a great finish, but it's a great goal for Boavista as well, and it speaks to their maturity as a team. As often teams might want to try and force the play, they were happy to play it back to their fullback, play it back to a defender. It's a long ball up to a man just to knock it down into the eventual goal scorer. We'll see it again here on the replay. Tremendous maturity.
It's something you mentioned in the Schalke game about how they were rushing the final pass and they weren't recycling possession. That's exactly what Boavista did, and waited for the right moment to play that danger pass.
Even like we saw in the Juventus-Manchester United game, very scrappy. But look at this, it's to win the header is what sets up that goal essentially. But the maturity and, you know, the knowledge of them to say, let's reset and recycle this attack, is something that maybe other teams in the eFootball.pro lack, and it's a reason why we keep talking about Boavista. And I don't know if you've just copped for it, that manual goalkeeping, just guessing the wrong way, and that might be a reason why it's gone in the back of the net. Wasn't
madly convinced by the goalkeeping. It seemed to be going fairly central, but maybe there was just a bit too much S-venom on it. See what I did there?
If he was playing, I would understand. But 6 goals for Barbosa now. Tremendous return for him.
Thomas Müller, of course, tweeting out one of the goals of the week. On Matchday 2, I believe, as Javi Martinez now finds Cuisance, and now it's a chance to counter again here for Boavista. Cassiano finds Paulinho, and this game is sort of turning out how we expected it to, and Boavista are certainly giving as good as they're getting.
They are a very thorny side, Boavista, and that goal for Barbosa now takes him into the top 4, I believe, goal scorers throughout the league with 6.
You'd have to liken them to that little terrier who just won't stop yapping.
Exactly, a very scrappy team.
Ball gets played in, good header away, volleyed acrobatically towards goal, but that's a long way wide in the end, but it could have been definitely goal of the season.
Yeah, why not? Why not have a go from there? But I mean, Boavista, they're all smiles at the moment, and Bayern München, they seem a little bit flustered up there. They seem to be wondering where the adjustments can be made, and they're still trying to figure out this Boavista defence so far.
Thomas Müller, lovely turn there, but the ball just had a little bit too much pace on it, a little bit too much whip. "31 minutes gone here, deadlocked at 1-1. The offside flag is raised, and a great start from Bayern Munich hasn't really materialised so far.
Certainly not materialised in a lead, but they'll be happy to have gotten that early goal just to prove that they can score. Still pressuring Boavista here in their final third, and could be on for a goal.
Thomas Müller, oh, it's a poor bit of defending that. Cuisance tries the left foot shot, saved down to his left-hand side by the Boavista #1.
Yeah, it's going to be a corner here, and a bit unfortunate there for Boavista. Not one, but two ricochets. I mean, the first to allow the Bayern München man to grab the ball, and then the second after the pass was allegedly intercepted, but in the end, it will be a corner for Bayern.
So a bit of backstory if you are joining us today for the first time. Bayern Munich are part of the top leading teams in the competition, sitting in third at the moment with 14 points, behind AS Monaco with 16. And Boavista are part of the chasing pack. They're not at the foot of the table, they're in that sort of cluster in the mid. But having played some of the giants, they will be more than happy so far as the ball gets played in. And it looked like Xavi Martinez was going to glance that home, but it's gone all the way through. What have you seen so far tactically, Wes?
It's just, again, it's more of the same. With Boavista, it's more of the same. They are trying to play within what they know that their team can do. They're not trying to do anything fancy. They know what works with them. That's why when we say the words long ball, it's meant with kind of that they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They need to clear the lines. They know that they're not technically the best team out there, but they're making it work with what they've got. And looking at this here, Bayern are still trying to feel their way through what is a 5 at the back, which they're not quite used to playing against. I think it's going to be a difficult one for Bayern to spot and find a gap in. It might take a moment of brilliance, or it may take an error, or it might take a little bit slice of luck. But at the moment, it looks as though Bayern are just getting met with this black and white wall that Boavista have constructed.
4 minutes remaining in the first half here between Boavista and Bayern München. And it's 1-1 all square. Bayern Munich taking the lead after just 7 minutes. But a brilliant response from Boavista. They've given more than could be asked of them right now to get that equalising goal, and they've played a lot of this first half on the front foot.
Yeah, they've weathered the storm that was the middle part of the first half here, mainly featuring attacks by Bayern München. We're getting a bit of pinball there in the middle of the park, but were able to survive without a clear-cut chance coming the other way. But what's lacking at the moment for Boavista, yes, they're doing so well recycling their attacks and playing it short like they are now and playing it around the back 5, but it's about that killer pass, and this is a bit better from them now.
So final chance of the first half. A goal now for Boavista would be a really crucial time to score, but it's not going to come. The referee brings the first half to an end. Thomas Müller after 9 minutes, and then in 24 minutes, the equalising goal came flying in from Boavista after some questionable goalkeeping, you'd have to say. All square, and so far, you'd have to say on the balance of play, a deserved result in this cagey affair.
Yeah, I'd say so. Bayern Munich may be a little disappointed not to get more goals from their shots.
We were just hearing from some of the players there.
I think it was from Lutti actually chiming in.
More through the center.
Okay. Sí, sacan ellos, Kickoff, chavales.
How's your Spanish, Harry?
My English is pretty good, and Lutti said more through the centre, so we'll see whether or not they'll stop exploiting the wings of that back 5.
That's not what I asked, though. I want to hear your Spanish.
It's not great. It's not great.
Marlon starts the second half.
Wes was berating me for that yesterday, as I tried my best to communicate with the locals here in Barcelona. Didn't go well.
I'm not surprised, as Pavard has the chance to play the ball long into dangerous territory. If they can get the flick on, which they can, they could be in trouble here, Boavista, as Thomas Müller was inches away from recycling possession and getting the shot away, but it's back with Boavista. As you said, Harry, I think the term you used was thorny, and I think that's a brilliant term. Nobody right now in the world of eFootball.pro will be wanting to play Boavista.
No, they seem like a team that not only play within their means. There's a risky one there across the face of Reet, just about is a let-off, but they seem to study their opponents as well and frustrate them with this play that they are happy to do in recycling attacks constantly, playing patiently.
What I find interesting about the way they're playing as well, as we just let this attack phase out as it's played in towards Thomas Müller, is that they mentioned at the start of the season they just want to finish in that top 6. That's their aspirations, which is great. They can get into the knockout stages and then go from there. And it seems to be playing like that. They seem to be more than happy with another point from this game. They're at 1-1. They're playing the ball about very slowly, keeping possession. And they look like they're more than happy with a point.
Well, you can see there on the league table, actually I'll come back to that, where they were. They're actually sat, you know, just outside of that knockout phase. But as you said, they've played the big clubs, the arguable tough games here in the eFootball.pro. And as we said before the game, they'll be looking towards those maybe weaker teams in the future weeks to start racking up those points and propel themselves into that knockout phase at the end of the season.
I think maybe we might be looking at it as a masterstroke, the fact that they are just ticking a few points here and there across the different match days until they accumulate enough points, but they could get a second here. Good defending for Power. It's surely a penalty.
It's a pen.
The referee's pointed to the spot. He was hacked down. Surely a penalty. And Pavard is booked. It was a really, really strange bit of defending that.
It's Yiu versus Matchday here.
And Bueno is about to step up from 12 yards. Yiu to go 2-1 up for Boavista, and he's done it. And how important may that goal be? The nerve, the determination, the bottle, and we keep talking about how they're dark horses. Maybe we should be looking at them being potential front runners.
They have to survive this second half against Bayern München. You can see them trying to figure out what went wrong. We'll see it in just a moment. When they gave away the penalty, I mean, it was a miscommunication at the back. Mestre and I think it was Alex at the back, both controlling centre-backs, just sandwiching, and you can see it there. You can't go sliding in the area.
Very similar to the penalty in the Nantes game, wasn't it?
Yeah, certainly. But Boavista, they won't care. They'll take that, and it's Yiu to convert the penalty.
Not flustered, so much bottle. Where did it all go wrong defensively there for Bayern Munich?
Well, if you look here, we're just watching it back on playback there. It's not an intentional slide tackle. It's them trying to clear the ball. What's then happened is that the animation has then took it as a slide tackle, which has then given the penalty. So Bayern will feel rightly aggrieved at this part. You know, to concede a penalty in that fashion, I feel that they'll feel slightly aggrieved.
But offensively, Boavista did such a good job at placing the body in front of that line of clearance.
Oh, 100%. And the way that Boavista have moved forward and are trying to... They've took what they feel is probably the best of Bayern Munich now. They've took the, you know, where everyone's stamina is full. They've took the early, you know, the early goal. They've managed to feel their way back into the game, and that they'll feel, you know, tails are up now. They've got to fight their 5 at the back. They know how they want to play and they know how they want to work. I'd say a point for knockouts. I wouldn't want to be playing these in the final in the knockout stages because they seem to be able to play very well under pressure.
Certainly
and in one-off games as well. Put my teeth back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the way that Boavista sticking with this 5 at the back. They're only making personnel changes here. They're not overthinking or over-analysing this. They know that, you know, the way that they're playing so far is good enough, and they have played possession-based football. And it's been rewarded here, well, with a 2-1 lead.
And just what we were saying, all they want to do is finish in the top 6. And with this result, if it stands like this, with a game to play, 6th on 10 points. 3 points behind the team they're playing against. If they were to win again in the second game, we're getting very much ahead of ourselves, but this could be the 12-pointer we were talking about.
Yeah, and that's what we said. That's what when we were talking about Arsenal earlier, when we were talking about United saying is there a cause for concern? There really isn't, because at this point, you know, all the games, you know, they all are point-winning games.
So let's not forget that Bayern Munich have produced some stunning results so far in eFootball.pro and are more than capable of turning this game around again as it gets crossed in towards a near post, and it almost happened on cue, but the header's gone over the top.
Bayern can be happy with themselves in that they are playing very solid attacking football. Winning the header at the front post should have been enough to at least produce a shot on goal, or shot on target, I should say. Unfortunately, it just is blasted over, but will this fancy attacking football for Bayern München, will it produce the output and the volume enough to break down this Boavista defence? Will they crack?
Thomas Müller to take the throw on the near touchline. He looks for Hernandez and David Alaba. Idris steps in to take possession back, wrestle it back for Boavista, and now Gustavo plays it down the line, but cleared away by Bayern Munich. This is better from the Germans as they come forward again in waves of pressure as Javi Martinez looks for Thomas Müller again, turns around the corner, but the pass was overhit, and had he got that right, that was a big chance.
Yeah, fortunate there for Boavista, really, considering the man sliding in didn't get the cleanest of connections on it and allowed that Bayern Munich man to come along and create that chance. But Boavista, again, they're keeping it scrappy here in the midfield. Their 5 at the back is holding strong for now.
Now remember, Boavista were 2-1 up against AS Monaco and drew 2-2 in their opening game and lost the second, and the same could happen here. It's the wrong side of the post. What a chance for Bayern Munich, and they haven't been able to take it.
It's Jose, after the scrappy passage of play here in defence, running onto the ball. Why not take a shot there? Went for power over placement and in the end blasted it wide. But this is it. The volume of chances created for Bayern München will keep coming until the end of the game. So Boavista, they need to maintain their concentration levels here.
15 minutes for Bayern Munich to grab an equaliser. 15 minutes for Boavista to possibly take all 3 points. And a big step towards the knockout stages as the ball gets played in, and he's hit the exact same spot as 2 minutes earlier.
I mean, Boavista, if they conceded that, they would have felt very hard done by. So many players with the opportunity to clear the ball and really at least get a handle on possession. But, I mean, it's not coming off for them at the moment. That's why they need to steady the ship here and maintain that concentration that has gotten them this far in the game.
Possibly one of the downsides of playing 5 at the back, Wes. Sometimes a bit of miscommunication and too many players too many cooks spoiling the broth.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that if you're playing 5 at the back, you're encouraging pressure from your opponent at all times, because you're surrendering an extra player in midfield, but you can.
Oh, it's happened! Oh, it's an absolute.
It's a clanger.
He has dropped quite possibly one of the greatest clangers we will ever see in eFootball.pro. Just when we thought they were sailing towards 3 points, they've switched off.
Well, put it this way, Luka Tabelli can rest easy for having mistake of the day.
Safe to say we've seen some clangers.
I mean, that's...
But that is, I mean, to say it's schoolboy is not doing it justice, to be honest, because, yeah. I mean, what on earth is going... Look at their faces.
I mean... What's going
through his head?
After all that hard work, it's trying to play safe and get it all the way back. That's really cost them potentially what would be 3 valuable points here against Bayern München, and that lets them right back in the game.
I mean, to say manual goalkeeping can sometimes cause problems.
To say that it can cause problems, it definitely can.
And I'm afraid to say it was the penalty scorer.
The finishing, not too fast.
With the own goal. Let's listen to Bayern München.
How do you respond from that? How do you come back from that? Because that is, I mean, in terms of, you talk about momentum, but that is a real killer.
I mean, a goal straight from the kickoff would certainly help things.
Cleared away. 5 minutes now, and like I said, Boavista were 2-1 up against AS Monaco, drew 2-2, and then lost the result, the follow-up game. And finished that day on 1 point. I think it was match day 2, and potentially we might be seeing something similar today. Of course, they could go on and win the second game. They could even still win this game, but in terms of momentum, to lose a goal like that at the highest level must be a real kick in the teeth.
Calamitous is a word that comes to mind. It just, I mean, it can't happen. Obviously, it's a bit of miscommunication, bit of misfortune again, I suppose you could say. But
when you work so hard in a match to take Bayern Munich, lead 2-1 going into the final 10 minutes, to go and gift them a goal, it's not even, I mean, Christmas is done as the ball gets played through, and it's 3-2. And somehow they've snatched victory, Bayern Munich, surely now from the jaws of defeat. And all Boavista will do is look back at minute 81.
The implosion is complete. Boavista, I mean, they did so well coming back from 1-0 down, going up 2-1, but from then on, it's been all one-way traffic.
But it's the skill. It's the skill in this goal, though. It's not even just the, it's the, we talk about the psychological part of this, but it's like we said, it's the extra pass. It's spotting those passes and doing something that's unpredictable. Boavista had sunk into that rhythm of, oh, okay, well, we know how Bayern are going to attack. We know how where they're going to pass to, what they're going to do. Bayern take one pass that's unexpected, and then all of a sudden it creates so much anarchy, because Boavista then are just reacting. They're trying to react to something that they're not used to.
Heartbreaking for Boavista. But unfortunately, when you make mistakes like that, you've only got yourselves to blame, and it's a real welcome to the big league.
Now you can see the immediate reaction from Bayern München, want to protect this goal lead.
We mentioned, just listen to the players here. We mentioned from above, Vital speak. Well, we talked about Boavista, how important that them 2 goals might be in terms of crushing their game week. But from a Bayern Munich point of view, is that a sign of potential champions?
Yeah.
To be 2-1 down and to, even though they've had a helping hand, they forced the issue.
I mean, it certainly was a gift to get them back into this game from Boavista. I mean, if they don't concede that own goal, yes, I mean, it was probably looking like Bayern München were going to secure another goal of their own based on the momentum of play, but still, you can't make that level of mistake. But you're right, Bayern München have capitalised and smash and grab.
And the thing is, you could see the intention that Boavista were trying to do. They were trying to retain the ball. They were trying to just play it back and kill some time. But even so, you still have to execute those types of passes correctly. You can't just leave it where you just think, oh, well, the gaming AI's got this.
The thing is, I mean, it's finished here. Bayern Munich 3, Boavista 2. We thought that the Nantes game was going to be the most dramatic, and this is right up there. You touched on Boavista looking to see out possession, and they would do that 99 times out of 100 and be completely fine and probably go on to win that game 2-1.
I mean, I'll say this with a degree of confidence: you're never going to see a goal like that again in this league.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, you might hold me to that, but I can't imagine that ever happening again. I mean, it's like you said, it is 99 times out of 100. That's the keeper controls it and they play it out and everything's fine. And instead, it was just
gaff of the year.
It was calamitous. It was the gaff. It was the mistake. It was everything and then some. It was incredible.
But let's not harp on too much about that, because we have given it a lot of airtime, and obviously it will be heartbreaking for you, of course, the player who scored the own goal, or more so the person controlling the goalkeeper. I'm not quite sure who that was. Where do we go from here now in the second game? Because we talked about teams before having to raise their game from, disappointment, but is there any greater disappointment than that?
Probably not. But if we are going to be considering Boavista as a team that potentially could get into the top 6 and into the knockout phases of this competition come the end of the season, this is the type of adversity they're going to have to bounce back from. And we're about to see what Boavista are made of. You can see, you know, still a little bit light-hearted up there, not, you know, completely letting the game run away from them. They have another game's worth of PES to play, and they know they need to just reset and bounce back once more.
It's so difficult, though. I mean, look at the body language straight away. That would concern me.
It would, and this is where you're expecting a captain maybe to step up and say, guys, it was unfortunate. Let's just move on. We've got a whole other game of PES here. Let's reset.
I mean, if you think about it, if you just think before the error, and I know that we've spoken about it a lot, but for the 90% of that first game, Boavista were in control. Boavista had got back to 2-1. They converted the penalty. They were in control of the game. So all that Boavista need to do for game 2 is do the same thing again.
If we switch towards Bayern Munich, of course, they've got out of jail there, really.
Oh yeah, massively.
Now they're pretty confident they can go on and get another 3 points here.
Maybe. We'll have to listen to what they have to say and see how they want to set up their team here for the second game.
¿Kickoff? Sí.
Yeah, you're hearing a lot of Lottie and Alex there.
Vale, 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 va.
There's Alex on the left-hand side of your screen there.
Confianza y fortaleza mental.
Hay que echarle cojones, vamos. Todo lo que saquemos de ahora adelante es súper positivo.
I know Vamos. I can translate Vamos for you if you'd like.
I can translate Vale as well.
I'll do mine if you do yours.
They're saying, I've been told from our translators, that all they can get from now on is a positive. So they, as I said, they see that as a massive get out of jail card, that one.
And it was a gimme, really. But let's move on. We got a whole other game of PES, and as the Boavista guys will be doing on stage as well, we also need to reset and realise that, you know, Boavista have been able to snatch results from big teams in the past. Yes, they got a little unfortunate in that first game with a massive mistake, but they're still the Boavista team that has, you know, taken Monaco all the way and matched them for goals. So we'll see if they could do that here against Bayern München in this second game.
Xerxes plays it in field towards Cousin, and now out towards Thomas Müller. Oh, it's a great first chance for Bayern Munich, and Fabiano with a little tuft of hair there to divert the ball away, and that would have been 1-0.
Yeah, if you watch that passage of play back, I think the player controlling Bayern München was basically queuing up his shot before the deflection came in.
It's another chance here, this time for Boavista, and they've started the second game in the best possible way, and we talked about how their mentality might be affected. Well, that's completely blown that conversation out of the water.
Certainly, we'll see what they can do now, having scored first after going down 1-0 in game 1. We know the story from then on, but now is their chance to really continue this attacking play. It was a lovely goal in the end, actually, to find a man in that little pocket of space. And Bayern München, I mean, they'll be disappointed with themselves.
They will. The little reverse finish there was a tidy one, and I mean, as they said, the guys before the game, anything now was a bonus for Bayern Munich, but I'm sure they might get anything here.
No, certainly not. We will obviously update those graphics on your screen. It is not 3-2 to Bayern München, and it is not game 1. It certainly isn't Jose with the goal.
Xerxes finds Guzan, and now back to Xerxes again. Another chance for an instant response from Bayern Munich, and I've said time and time again, the sign of champions potentially, and they've done it again.
Matchday, I believe, with that goal there. Yeah, I mean, Boavista's goal will act as a palate cleanser, but that is very much a shock back into reality that, you know, Bayern Munich aren't going away. So this is going to be quite a grandstand finish, I think, in this game. I think they're going to go toe-to-toe. We saw there again. It's good passing. It's again goes through the legs of a defender, and you know they're there ready to tuck it away. So you know, expect to see more of this as we go on. I don't think it's going to end 1-1 this game.
It's very un-Boavista-like to concede a goal like that, though, is it? So soon after going in front, I mean, they've been so resolute and so organised, and effective defensively, and they just didn't really seem to have anything there.
No, I will put that down, though, to the composition of the team for Bayern München. There are so many players forward. I'll come back to my point in just a moment.
Xerxes again down the right-hand side. Good defending, showed good strength there to hold off the run. And the ball trickles down a play for a goal kick.
But the attack that led to that goal, I mean, it was Yiu, the defending man, to go to the ball, but I mean, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, because there's a player waiting on the edge of the box for Bayern München. He went to cover him and instead led that to being the open man for Bayern München, and who then set up the goal. So it's really interesting and intriguing how Bayern München have set up their tactics here very nicely against Boavista.
They have indeed, as the ball gets played out towards the right-hand side by Joker, and now Yiu plays it in towards the danger area, and another chance here for Boavista, and a smart stop down to his left-hand side. Really, really impressive, considering he had a lot of ground to make up the goalkeeper, but more slick football there from Boavista.
Yeah,
Stunning
very
save.
slick. Boavista with the late run. It was Barbosa actually coming in, and didn't think he'd get a contact on that, but he managed to in the end, and here we are with a corner.
Barbosa went over to take it with Paulinho, and Mestre comes across using Thomas Müller to block that near post cross. Another whipped in, dangerous delivery, and it's evaded everybody inside the 6-yard box and anyone at the back post, and it was a free header.
Certainly. You need to be very careful here, Bayern München. Yes, their passing is slick in the final third, but you have to show Boavista a lot of respect here and make sure, again, those concentration levels aren't dipping.
20 minutes gone here. Boavista 1, Bayern Munich 1. We've been here before. Then it went to 2-1 Boavista, and then we know what happened after that. Can Boavista this time change the story? As he was down under the challenge there, and a few people wanted more from the referee, but he was having absolutely none of it. It's how to play for a corner.
Got the ball for me, Adam.
To be taken by Paulinho. Now it's into the danger area again! And this time they have a player in the exact spot that they need. And it's turned home, and Wes, time and time again, Boavista from set pieces have been incredible.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. It's all the way through this season so far. They've been great. I mean, I'm almost willing to call you Mr. Adam, seeing as you were like, well, it's 1-1, and then it went 2-1 Boavista, and it's like we said, we've been here before.
It's Barbosa, the goal scorer, which puts him up now to 7 goals, I believe, on the season. Up there with the lofty heights of the likes of Uzmakabil and Kills-You. Tied for leading goal scorer in the eFootball.pro. What a season Barbosa's having.
His debut seasons go. There's none quite been like this, but he's got a hat full of goals here.
Another chance here. The offside flag is raised.
See the ball going forward.
26 minutes gone. Boavista 2, Bayern Munich 1. History might just repeat itself. I hope for Boavista it doesn't. Another chance here for Cassiano, left foot shot. Oh, it's 3-1. And that's exactly what they need, because now they have a 2-goal cushion. And Bayern Munich are shell-shocked here.
Yes, they are. We were in this position before, though. Don't forget. I don't want to keep coming back to it, but I believe it's Joker to poke this one home, and it's a lovely, just first touch and left-footed strike in the end, firing it into the goal. Great find, and one touch, all you need. Back of the net, 3-1.
Back of the net, indeed. Wes, how impressed are you about this response from Boavista, mentally more than anything?
Well, it's showing a great deal of maturity. We said this in terms of their preparation and before the games came, and obviously given the circumstances that the first game finished in, it's been fantastic to see the response from them. And as Ari mentioned, it was Joker with the goal. they've seemed to have got themselves back on their feet.
Certainly, and the question is now, I mean, the good thing, I suppose you could say, for Bayern München's cause is that there is still so much PES to play. We are just a third through this match, 31 minutes gone. So still time for Bayern München to come back.
You can see there as well, the runs that they're trying to make are just trying to pick off the pockets of space that Boavista's formation are leaving. But again, Boavista just, again, very resolute, very professional in their approach. They just want to get it clear. They want to give their team the opportunity to reset in their formation. And that's where they're feeling comfortable at the moment.
Down the right-hand side, chance to play it into the danger area, headed away, only as far as right on the edge of the area, but Cassiano was able to bring it away for Boavista. Now Paulinho, long switch out towards Idris on the left-hand side, strong header there though, and Xerxes can't get on the end of it, but now he does, but again given away. It's been a bitty performance in this first half, Harry, from Bayern Munich.
Yeah, it has, and they'll be wondering where their, I mean, chance creation has gone in these, I mean, past 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's been mostly Boavista, honestly. It looked like creating the next goal-scoring chance, and here they come again.
Down through the middle, cleared away.
And you think back to the advice that Lutty and his teammates were echoing about playing it more down the middle. Maybe they go back to that wing play that was serving them so well in the first game.
Thomas Muller looking for Xerxes again. This time the pass can't quite get through. 3 minutes remaining in the first half here. And it's been a really impressive. We've waxed lyrical about how impressed we've been with Boavista this season, but they haven't been able to rack up the points as we've suggested, and this is probably the best opportunity they've got.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. I think to be 3-1 up now. It's a totally different, a totally different circumstance than being 2-1 up and being kind of on the back foot. They're very much on the front foot at the moment, and it's only going to be kind of a counter punch from Bayern that's going to set them back off and get them thinking defensively again. But at the moment, Boavista are really trying to hold firm here.
Neres out towards the right-hand side with Idris. 3 minutes of added on time here. Is there a chance for a possible fourth, which would put them 1 foot to 3 points? Or are they happy with getting to half-time with that 2-goal cushion? Well, no, they're looking to go in search of that 4th goal. Lovely one-touch football. He's gone down. There was a few shouts from the Boavista contingent, but the referee was unmoved. It's finished here at the end of the first half. Boavista 3, Bayern Munich 1, and what a response, guys.
Yeah, perfect response. Bit of a soft one that would have been if that was given by the referee. There were a few shouts here and there, but for me, it would have been very harsh on Boavista, who have played much better in that first half. Much better than I anticipated them to play, certainly, after that heartbreaking first game. But let's have a little listen as to what these guys have to say.
Duas assistências e gol 740 ataques, é isso.
Quem? És tu?
Sim. Não é grande.
Não. Certinho! Aos 60 metemos 5 defesas, se tiver 3-1.
Sim. Mudamos a tática ao contrário. E eles ficam também. Se liberem aí.
Overlaps na linha. Overlaps na esquerda, sempre.
Jogar na linha, segurar a bola.
Que?
Just listening to him, not a lot going on. Looking at the way that the tactics are set out, Bayern Munich seem to be breaking out into 3-5-2.
Are you surprised by the performance levels from Bayern Munich today? Because, I mean, we talked about how they've got 3 points. They're more than happy with that. They talked about anything now as a bonus. Is that the aspirations of a team that are looking to compete right at the top?
I think it's more a case that they've looked at the way that Boavista are playing and they've gone, right, well, it's going to be quite difficult, especially playing in the way that Boavista do, and they've kind of gone, okay, well, we've got 3 points, that's a positive, like, that's fine, like, because again, for Bayern Munich, they've got 3 points now. They're now, what, 3 points ahead of Monaco? So now they've got points on the board. It's now going to be down to Monaco in the final game to then go, well, actually, we need to go and beat Celtic twice to put themselves back on top again.
But then again, in terms of if you're a Boavista player, that's credit of the highest order, really, isn't it? Because a team like Bayern Munich is saying that they got lucky in the first game. They don't really expect anything from the second game because anything's a bonus. So therefore, you probably sat there thinking, this is really, really positive now.
Yeah, I think the way that we're looking at it is, you know, compared to what match day 1, where myself and Harry were sat here watching them play Nantes, and we're kind of going, well, you know, it's a free hit for them. They're now kind of playing their way into actually being contenders for top 6 and beyond. So I think at the moment they just need to, you know, keep their heads and keep going and keep plugging away, because at the moment the way they're playing, it is nullifying teams. You know, it is doing its job, and you know, you could arguably say they were lucky to not beat Monaco.
One big standout stat there, Barbosa with 8 goals to his name, the highest for Boavista and higher than any player for Bayern Munich as well.
If that stat is correct, I'm not entirely sure it is, but if it is, he would be the current leading goal scorer of the eFootball.pro season for Boavista, and he's been, honestly, great return for it.
Well, let's have a quick check to see if that is indeed the case, and the table has been updated, and he has leapfrogged Usmakabal, who was on 7. Of course, Usmakabal has 2 games to play, and we're into the final third of the second game here for Boavista and Bayern Munich.
I think it's a mark of respect for Boavista and how Bayern München have lined up in this second half. 3-5-2, that's a big sign that they are maybe struggling to break down Boavista.
Bayern Munich looking to out Boavista with the set-piece routine, but it didn't pay off. And that's trickled all the way through to the goalkeeper. Half an hour remaining. Where do they go from here? How do Bayern Munich turn this around? Because they've been pretty much nullified from start to finish.
I think they need to be careful, honestly, not to concede another one. I mean, Boavista here
in terms of goal difference?
Yeah, certainly goal difference, but also for their hopes in the rest of the match. I mean, 3 at the back is so risky. Yes, you have those 2 holding midfielders in the 3-5-2, and I'm not sure that's a foul, you know. For me, that's a good tackle.
Looked a fair tackle to me as well.
But Boavista have proven that they can break very well and score goals, so they need to be very careful here not to concede even more, especially down those wings.
Also, they've got to look at it that it will no matter how mentally strong you are, it will play on the Boavista lads' minds what happened in the last game. So if they keep it to 3-1 and then maybe with 10 minutes or so to go, nick a goal, and then it will be a case of, right, okay, this surely couldn't happen again.
Exactly. So at 4-1, you're thinking that's probably not likely. So for me, as strange as it sounds, yes, Bayern München need goals, but if you concede a 4th, Boavista probably unlikely to concede 3 in a row. So hold out to that, like you said, 75, 80-minute mark. Get yourself a goal then, and I mean, hope for the Boavista crumble.
The apple crumble or raspberry crumble? What rhubarb?
I'm a cherry man.
You're a cherry man, are you? Okay, lovely. Where's Boavista? Tried and tested, staying with the 5 at the back. How impressed have you been with that formation in particular? And do you think other teams might start to adopt it more?
Well, we see 5 at the back from Celtic a fair bit, and
I know
it doesn't work.
Josh likes,
yeah,
you know.
And the thing with that is that it suits this team. It doesn't necessarily suit Celtic.
Right.
So I think that's the reason why we're looking at this now and going, well, actually, this is perfect for this team. You need to find a tactic, as we alluded to last match day. You find a tactic that sits well with your team, not just what everyone else uses. So I wouldn't like to say that people will start adopting 5-3-2 as a particular tactic, but if it suits their team and suits their style of play, then I'm sure they will.
Indeed, as the ball gets played in towards Pavard, right foot shot past the near post, and really he's got to be getting that on target.
Yeah, I mean, it's a half chance really from that angle. You're probably unlikely to score. He's gone for power.
Complete slicage.
You'd expect the goalkeeper to do well there, though, if it was on target, but signs of life from Bayern München. They haven't really provided us with much to shout about in terms of chances so far, so signs of life from them.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit concerned if I was in the Bayern Munich camp at how they've proceeded with the match day. Even though they won the first game, they didn't look like winning for large periods. The performance levels weren't great, and they were, well, Very lucky, let's be honest. In the second game, we've seen pretty much more of the same. Not that great at either end of the field.
No, definitely not. Worth noting, Captain Barbosa for Boavista is 1 goal away. If he were to get 1 more goal, he would secure himself a match ball, only the second to be handed out so far this season.
Koeman into Arp. Remember, 1 goal for Bayern Munich, and it could set up another grandstand finish, and Boavista certainly wouldn't want that as Pavard finds Boateng. Goes towards Javi Martinez, but instead leaves it for Hernandez. Now back to Boateng. Idris is there. I've been impressed defensively from Boavista.
Yeah, they've been very stout and haven't really... I mean, Bayern München have been relying on mistakes from Boavista, really.
Thomas Muller, that was a mistake defensively, and Thomas Muller almost managed to steal a march.
But there haven't really been that many mistakes to shout about, and there haven't been, you know... I mean, it's mainly been scraps that Bayern München have been feeding on so far.
Because that goal could have caused them mentally to allow mistakes to creep more into the game in the second half, but they've been pretty incredible if you think about it in terms of that attention to detail and the thought process and the way they're playing and not allowing those mistakes to creep in.
Certainly, and they've gotten to this point, the 80th minute. That's what we were asking them to do, you know, with this 2-goal cushion still in play. Need to be careful with these kinds of challenges, though. In fact, the referee's giving it the other way. Interesting.
10 minutes remaining. Can Bayern Munich do what they've not done for large swathes of this first half? A few ironic cheers there as the ball got played back towards the goalkeeper. You remember what happened in the last game as Idris has a chance to play it forwards. Another pop round the corner. This is wonderful one-touch football from Boavista. Still pinballing around, and finally they clear the lines.
So close, and maybe a bit more selfishness there from Barbosa needed. He is on the match ball, but still the selflessness coming in.
They were trying to score the perfect goal, Harry.
Absolutely, and that's a testament to how they want to play pairs and how they want to play football.
Manuel Neuer with a long punt downfield. We've seen that many, many times over the years, and now Serge Gnabry down the right-hand side, crosses in towards big chance, stunning save, the acrobatic volley. It would have been one of the goals of the day and possibly the season, but on this occasion, the Boavista #1 produces a world-class fingertip stop.
The keeper making amends there for his blunder in the first match. Better, though, from Bayern München once again, but they just can't seem to find the back of the net at the moment. They need a goal soon.
3 minutes remaining, and this will be a huge 3 points for Boavista. Punched over the top again by the goalkeeper. As you said, Harry, he is more than redeeming himself in this game for what happened in the first game.
Looks like they're going straight for goal here from these corners.
Might well do. In towards that danger area again. That's a easy claim there for the goalkeeper, and time running out, and Boavista are certainly taking a scalp here in eFootball.pro. They should have won the first game. They lost it after some quite incredible goalkeeping errors, and that nearly was one there for Manuel Neuer for Bayern Munich.
You can see the smiles and laughs from the Boavista boys. They know this one's probably home and dry at this point. And
indeed it is.
If they'd come out of this side with nothing, I feel they would have been very, very unfortunate, but looks like it's going to be 3 points to them.
Once again, back towards the goalkeeper, fired away deep into the final minute of added on time. It's Boavista 3, Bayern Munich 1, a stunning 3 points for the Portuguese side based on the fact that they allowed the first game to disintegrate before their eyes. What a testament to them, and it's a very indifferent Bayern Munich performance today, Wes.
Yeah, it was very much goes against what we've seen of them as of late. It's very, very. It was un-Bayern-like in their approach, but you know, I think they'll be, you know, as they kind of alluded to when we were listening to the voice chat from them, is that they'll be happy that they'll have got away with 3 points there, because I think, you know, again, for large periods of the first game, they weren't there. Boavista seemed to be very much in the ascendancy, and it showed in the second game that, even after scoring early, and then there was the early equaliser from Matchday, that, Boavista then basically took the game away from them with 2 goals in 5 minutes.
really impressive from them in that second game to come away with all 3 points after the, let's be frank, devastation of that first game. Seeing the two sets of players, they both seem pretty happy. If you're a Boavista player, you know that you've really had a poor bit of luck in that first game. You've allowed 3 points to slip through your fingers, but you've played pretty decent across the two games and come away with 3 points after that second game. Equally, Bayern Munich, you've not had a great day at the office. You've been, by your standards, pretty poor, and again, you've still come away with 3 points.
Yeah, and I think that's how they will both look at it. I think for Boavista, again, with their aspirations only being, you know, top 6, they'll be happy with the fact that they've just crept in there, and they're just underneath.
In there, I like that one.
They've crept in there. They've crept in there. They have, you know, they have double digits now in terms of points, and they haven't you know, they haven't shown a bad performance here. It's one error that's going to define Matchday, you know, Matchday 4 for them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the two sides perform in their games to come in the season, but certainly the Boavista we saw today is very similar to what we saw before. As we look at some of the stats from the game on your screen, you can see the goals there, and we are also now going to go to Harry in the mix zone because he has the Bayern Munich players, and it'd be interesting to see how they gauge that game because it was a very hard one to call in terms of their level of performance. Harry, what's the mood like with the Bayern Munich guys?
It's from Bayern München. A couple of different games there. You had a comeback in the first, a bit fortuitous. The second game didn't go your way. Talk me through those two matches.
Well, it was a strange feeling. We did our best, but it's true that the performance at the first minute in both games wasn't maybe the best. We are very strong mentally. That's what we show in the end of both games. It was really amazing how we performed in the last minutes of the first game. Proud of that 3 points, but yeah, it's a shame at the beginning of the second game we can concede 3 goals at the very beginning of the match. Then we did try back-to-back to do our game, but well, they were really in good position on the game. They played with the result. They did a really good performance. I mean, looking forward for the future. I mean, we know the skills. We have everything that we need to be on top. Keep fighting. We came in a good shape. Didn't went really nice. I mean, let's keep it working for the next match day. That it's coming really strong with Juventus. You know, it's really amazing.
Talk to me about Juventus as a side. Obviously, your former teammate Ettore. Give me an assessment of how they've done so far this season and how you think you guys will stack up against them next match day.
It will be a strange feeling. I used to play with them the whole last 2 years. Well, first time we face one to each other with different colors, and it will be a great fight. I mean, I hope that people at home will enjoy the game. It will be a festival of football. Let's check it out. What we can do, we will do our best. We know how to face them, and let's see.
A festival of football. Alex, thank you so much. Adam, back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. Alex, always great on the microphone, isn't he? Speaks with such wisdom for the game. They're sitting on 16 points now alongside AS Monaco and Bayern Munich, but AS Monaco now have 2 games to play and can potentially now set themselves adrift from the rest of the chasing pack, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, you know, Monaco now know what they've got to do. If they go and take 6 points off of Celtic, it's very hard to see anybody catching them. Very, very hard.
Yeah, and also in terms of Boavista, you know, they're now sat in 6th place with 10 points, and that's a pretty decent return so far with the games they've had to play. Let's hear how they feel after, of course, that interesting moment of goalkeeping in the 82nd minute in the first game. Harry, talk us through what their mental state's like.
Thank you very much, Adam. I am here with the Boavista boys. I mean, Barbosa, an incredible performance, really. Could have been maybe 6 points, though. Let's talk about those 2 games. Obviously, the own goal, a bit unfortunate, but are you happy with how those 2 games played out?
Well, in the beginning, we know that 3 points against Bayern Munich, it's a good result. But when we saw what happened, well, it's not 3 points is not good. But it was a mistake. But we have the capacity to, in the second game, improve our game, and we made an excellent game.
You have 8 goals. You scored 3 goals in that match, which is a tremendous return. You have 8 goals now in the eFootball.pro season. The leading goal scorer. How does that feel?
Well, it's always good, but we are here for fighting the team. We want points. It's no problem for me to change the leader of scoreboard, but if we can go to the 6th place.
Next match day, you guys face up against Celtic FC. They need points. They're going to be a hungry team. Talk to me about Celtic FC. What do you think about them, and how are you guys going to stack up against them in the next match day?
Well, I think now it will start our championship. So we faced Juve, we faced Bayern, we faced Monaco, and now I think it will start our championship. Celtic, it's a good team. They have a good team player, and they have a game very, very similar like us, but we are here to make our points, and we keep going on our target and our goal.
Awesome, Barbosa. Guys, congratulations. Boavista coming away with 3 points against Bayern München.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. The guy said it there, the Barbosa there for Boavista. He said that their season kind of starts here, but they're already in 6th place, and they've played arguably the 3 favourites for the competition in Juve, Bayern Munich, and of course AS Monaco. So they're a real contender, surely now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from their standpoint, like they said, their competition starts here, but if you'd have offered them, if they'd have looked at their fixture list and said, right, the first 4 games will give you 10 points, you'll be top 6, they'd have snapped your hand off for it. And now they're looking at as you alluded to, their run of fixtures gets a little bit lighter. It's not any less difficult because now you're putting that type of...
It might be a new pressure. Now they're the favourites.
Yeah, now all of a sudden you're going out there and going, well, actually, our competition starts here. But what message does that send to Celtic? Because Celtic were, sorry? We're meant to be the easy ones here. Hold on a minute, and they'll end up putting a performance in. So it's very interesting to see what will happen next.
Yeah, and of course the resultant game from the final game today, Celtic, might influence that as well. And of course we will turn our attention to that final game. Remember, you can follow us on all our social media channels for all of the latest and greatest information, and our best MVP and best goal from Matchday 4 will be announced next Matchday and Matchday 5. But yeah, let's take a look at the next game. Of course, it is Celtic versus AS Monaco, who are top of the table. And the players for Celtic are, of course, Ndojoa, Indominator and Yorka. And AS Monaco is going to be Kilju, Lotfi and Makabar.